Hey guys, it's Tim again from Success Insider, and I've got a special guest joining us. His name is Jairek Robbins. Jairek is a speaker, performance coach, and a lifestyle entrepreneur dedicated to helping professionals like yourself achieve success by living with purpose. At only 23 years old, Jairek is awarded a Congressional Award, the Gold Medal from the United States Congress. He has conducted training for a variety of companies and organizations, including the US Marines, Air Force, BMW, Remax, members of the US Olympic team. He's a trusted advisor and board member to a variety of different companies and has found two of his own. Jairek, welcome to the Success Insider Show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll give everyone who's listening a little bit of a heads up. You might hear some noises, some airplanes, some people. We are currently traveling right now, so we're not in our studio, so it's not our best high quality sound for y'all. But I did want to make this happen because I promised Tim we would. So enjoy. And it's a real conversation happening in real time, so hopefully you love it.
Yeah, guys, it doesn't get any more real than this. Okay, Jairek, please start by explaining to us your short story of how you really got to where you are today.
Simple story. I grew up in the personal development space. My first seminar was in my mom's belly. She was teaching people how to break through their fears by breaking bricks with their bare hand. Fast forward, I got my BA in psychology from the University of San Diego. Took that, combined them together. I jumped into one-on-one coaching for a large personal development company and spent my first 7 years coaching for them, 6.5, 7 years. From there, I decided to start my own coaching practice. And it was me stepping out, having tons of experience from traditional psychology all the way to, personal development and self-help for my entire life, wrapping that together into just me working one-on-one with individuals of how to help them perform at their absolute best. And the precursor there was I had basically a lifetime worth of experience, to put it lightly, on using, applying, learning, applying, relearning, applying all the material, and felt very confident in understanding how helping people walk through the process of getting the results they were after. The other thing is I had 7 years experience working with a very large organization where they put me through 250 hours of training, and I spent, the next 6.5 years coaching their clients and constantly being rated and getting feedback and showing how to improve and doing, a group training with all the coaches for their staff at least once a month, where we were given new tools and new ways to improve and become even better coaches. Just for all those young people out there who decide today they're going to be a coach. That's awesome. Go get training, get some experience, get some, work for a larger company that can give you some real true feedback and help you improve. So all that brings us to today, where I decided 7 years ago now to open my own coaching practice. I built it up from 0 to 6 figures in revenue, which means, 0 to a lot of clients in 8 months. And I've kept it growing ever since. And if you want to fast forward all till today, in the beginning, my goal was to reach and change as many lives as humanly possible. So I went from 0 to 52 clients a month in my first 8 months. At 52 one-on-one clients a month, that's most young coaches' dream. It's also hell, as much as it's heaven. Heaven because it's an awesome way to reach a lot of people. Hell because you can't deliver that high of a quality service to that many people as one individual. So I learned I had to find a better model for my coaching practice. Started to figure out different models that really worked for me. Found one that worked, continued to grow and scale my business. And now we finally hit a point 7 years into my own coaching practice that we started to train other coaches and bring them under our umbrella, just because we have lots of people interested in working with us and only so many hours in the day that we can use to work with them. So we're trying to train more people to reach more people.
Wow, you said that with absolute clarity. Okay, Jairek, let's rewind that back a bit. I mean, it seems like to me you've got like an absolute certainty on your purpose in life. Would you say so?
Sure.
Okay, how did you really reach this level of clarity? I mean, have you ever been lost in your life?
Oh, absolutely. The clarity comes from understanding a few different things. One, trial and error. So trying different things. My first job wasn't being a coach, helping people transform their lives or maximize their performance. My first job was security at Blockbuster Video, if you guys remember those. And it was because I was 14 and tall and big. And so I could see over the shelves, and I guess I was big enough to scare other kids away from trying to steal DVDs. So the good news is, within the first week of me working there, theft went down, I think 60% or something from where it was at. And so it was effective. So that was my very first job. My second job was working at a nonprofit where we were focused on a bunch of different projects, from feeding homeless to youth education to providing meals and water for people around the world. And so I worked there doing a little bit of everything and tried different positions. From there, I went into coaching for a while. I also did inside sales, outside sales for 2 years, worked at the warehouse for a while, went and stacked lumber in Canada for 3 months, took a ship trip around the world in college called Semester at Sea. We did 10 countries in 100 days. I went and volunteered and lived in a village in Uganda, doing volunteer work, teaching organic farming and English in the village there. So when you stack all those things backwards together, there was a lot of trial and error of trying different things, going different places, trying different things in different places, trying the same thing in a different place. And between the combination of all the different things that I ran across, I just sat down and said, wow, I have many, many, many years of all these different things I attempted and experienced. Based on all of those, what were the things that really make me feel alive? What were the things that really created moments where I just fell in love with life? And when I say fell in love with life, there's 3 criteria. 1, time disappeared. 2, I disappeared. And 3, nothing else mattered. Meaning I could just go into that moment and I would disappear into the day. And by the end of the day, I'd look up and go, oh my God, it was 8 a.m. 10 minutes ago. How does it 8 p.m. already? What happened? And when moments like that would occur, I would take note and literally grab a journal and write down, like, what just happened? What was I doing? How was I doing it? Who was I with? Where was I? What was the focus? What was the intention? What was the outcome? What are all the details that was going on that allowed me literally to disappear into the moment of life? Okay. And as I kept track of those, I started to, create a little corollary chart of what things consistently caused me to go into that flow experience, that heightened state of awareness. And as I noticed the trend, it finally just made sense. It's like, wow. And the qualities for me that came true that helped me feel that way was, 1, working directly with people. 2, finding a way to make a valuable, positive difference in some way, shape, or form, whether that's volunteering, whether that's nonprofit work, or whether that's helping them in some way, shape, or form. 3, I liked focusing on positive things. I didn't like people telling me their problems all the time because it felt like a downer. But I liked people telling me what they were excited about and focused on, and then I was good at helping them get creative solutions. But then the final piece that was a differentiator was I wasn't just good at talking them about possible ways to improve. I was good at really nailing down actionable things to do to actually get the results. And so I realized there was a differentiation there, because there's a lot of people out there who I'll run across and they're like, oh, I'm a marketing person. And you're like, really? Well, help me with marketing. And they're like, well, here, let me whiteboard with you and show you my plan, and I'll help you nail out the perfect funnel and all this other stuff. I'm like, can you apply it? Oh, no. I'm just I'm the strategy guy. I'm like, okay, that's not that. Strategy is useful, but application and results are more useful. And I realized I was more of a tangible results guy than just a talk strategy guy. And so that helped me understand where to place myself in the whole process. Because sure, you need to sit down from time to time and have someone who can help you map out a strategy, but you also need someone who can man up with you and get on the same playing field and say, okay, let's do it. Let's go run the laps together. Let's go lift the weights together. Let's go get shit done and get real tangible results with whatever strategy you have. And so I figured out that was my better placement for myself, more so than any other spot on that, timeline of someone's getting to the results.
Okay, sure. So you basically, I find a lot of people, whenever they're searching for their purpose, they just remain still. But you kept your momentum going, trying new things. Yeah. I suspect you must have gone through some tough times, during this journey. So how did you really push through those tough times and really get to, this place where you are?
A couple things. One, I have a friend who I think your friends can give you a better reflection of who you are than who you think you are. Because a lot of us sit down and in our minds, we have this perception, good or bad, of who we believe ourselves to be. But if you ask the people around you who you actually are, you'll get a slightly different perspective every now and then. Sometimes people are very self-aware. Sometimes they're not. There's that old picture of a man standing in front of a mirror and he's got this big old belly and he's wearing a Speedo. And in his mind, in the mirror, he sees a guy with a six-pack of abs, but in reality, he's like this big old belly and he looks funny. And sometimes we do that. Now, sometimes we do the opposite. Sometimes, we work really hard and we're actually in great physical space in our life, but we look in the mirror and see this shitty version of ourselves because that's what our mental picture holds. So the ability to have someone tell us the reality of how we actually show up is important. And so that I'd say that's kind of step one, is having someone give you real tangible feedback of how you're actually showing up and what you're really delivering, that thought process. Now, if you can get some real tangible feedback on how you're actually showing up and what's real, now from there, you can figure out where you need to go. And it's simple. If I took out a map of the United States and I said, hey, where are you? And you think you're in Denver, but in actuality, you're in San Francisco, and you're trying to get to New York, that's a whole different journey to take. And so the first piece is reality. The second piece is deciding where you need to go. And then the third piece is figuring out what's the plan that needs to help you get there. And so it's just a very simple, logical, tangible approach. And any time in my life when I hit a hard time, whether that was getting malaria and being told I had 6 days left to live, whether that was, showing up to an interview and not really preparing because I thought it was in the bag and I had it, and totally flopping the interview and being told like, hey, you got one more shot. If you fuck it up, you don't ever get a chance at this again. It's like, oh shit. Whether that's, you can go to the list of all the stuff that's ever gone wrong over the years. It all has at some point. It's natural. I was talking to someone earlier today who was a client, and I was like, I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but shitty stuff's going to happen to you in life. Now, what you qualify as shitty is completely up to you. For some people, shitty is like someone fucks up your order at the restaurant. For other people, shitty is like, hey, your mom died. And it's going to happen. It's all part of life. And something bad's going to happen along your journey. So to think that life is going to be blissful and fairy tales and butterflies is naive. Like, it's going to happen. Now, the truth is, when it happens, it doesn't have to take you out of the game. That's up to you. And what's going to help you get through those moments is two things. What do you focus on? Do you focus on all the stuff that's going wrong? Do you focus on all the stuff that's going right? So even on the day when a relative passes away, or your business falls apart, or the deal doesn't come through, or something doesn't come out the way you want it to, even on those days, there's great stuff happening. And people say, like, what? You woke up and you're breathing? And they're like, yeah, but that's not important. Really? You don't have a breath? You don't have life. Good luck. Like, people like to think, take stuff for granted. Yeah, you can see today. Yeah, but I could see yesterday. It's no big deal. Really? Try a day with your eyes closed. See what a big deal it freaking is. You can walk. You could talk. And they're like, yeah, I get it. But the truth is, you can choose to focus on the fact that all those miraculous things are going right in your life. Your heart's going to beat 100,000 times a day. And you didn't have to physically reach in there and pump it yourself. How cool. And you can focus on all these little things that are going right with your life. Or you can focus on the one shit thing that's going wrong that makes you feel like crap and you hate. And that's up to you in that moment. So the very first thing is training yourself to focus on what's right with your life first. Not ignoring the problem, not pretending like it doesn't exist, but focusing on what's right with your life and allowing yourself to gain strength mentally and emotionally by doing so. Now, the next part is then focusing on exactly what's going on. The best way to do this is with paper and pen so that you get all the emotional bullshit out of the way. Because a lot of times when something goes wrong, all our emotion kicks in and we get into a place where we start saying, well, this horrible thing is happening, and I'm really pissed off because of this. I'm really frustrated because of that. And if you look at it like a court deposition instead of how you feel, the court wouldn't say how you feel about it. They would say, hey, X is happening, Y occurred, Z time, L date, A location. That's it. That's all the court is concerned with, the facts, the actual hard facts and information of what's going on. So if you were to emotionally have a tough time, step back, say first, I'm going to choose to focus on what's right with my life and be in a strong emotional state. Second, I'm going to choose to only write down the hard facts, Only the facts, no emotion involved, only facts on paper. And I'm going to write them down so they don't circulate in my head. Third, I'm going to choose to find a good meaning to this, not just to talk positive to myself, but to genuinely find a good meaning. What does this mean to my life? What does this mean to who I want to become, where I want to go, what I want to accomplish? And then what can it mean? And what's the good meaning? There's a great book, if you're ever faced with a hard time, that you're going to want to read, called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He's someone who survived the Holocaust as a Holocaust survivor. And he comes up with something called logotherapy, which means whatever you mentally or emotionally attach to a situation is what you're going to remember and how you're going to feel about it. So for him, going through the Holocaust, he mentally attaches, I will live through this so that no other human being will ever have to again. That's his association. Therefore, he found a way to live for the purpose of helping others never having to go through the horrific situation he went through. And therefore, it gave him strength. It gave him power. It allowed him to stay focused on the end result and make it through one of the hardest moments a person can go through in life. Wow. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, certainly does. So I've got a list of questions, Jairek, that I want for us to go through quickly. What do you believe is your greatest success habits you've got?
I always call it filling up and fueling up. And it's the equivalent of, easy example to understand, if we took a Monaco Grand Prix, one of the cars in that race, and we put it on the track, if we filled it up once with a good tank of gas, so you fill yourself up once in life. You go to a seminar, you listen to some tapes, you read a good book, and you're like, hey, I'm all pumped up and fired up. I'm going to make my goals happen. And then you get on the racetrack of life, and you slam on the gas, and you drive your car as fast as it can possibly go to get to where you want to go and achieve the results you want to achieve. At what point would that race car run out of gas? Well, just count the laps. Turn the Monaco Grand Prix on or Indy 500. I don't know what the races are in Australia. Turn on the race, a car race. That car can only go around so many laps or so many miles or kilometers until literally it's out of gas. It's out of petrol. It's out of fuel. It's done unless it refuels. And if it continuously refuels, that car can go forever. I mean, it's going to need new tires eventually. It's going to need new oil. It's going to need new gas. It's going to need someone to clean the bugs off the freaking windshield. But eventually, if it takes consistent pit stops and refuels, it can keep going and race a really long, hard race. The same thing goes with you every day. And the question becomes, for every human being who's out there, how often do you need a pit stop throughout your day to literally refill and refuel who you are and prepare yourself for the next leg of the race? And one of the best success habits I have is I'm very self-aware on how often I need to refuel so that I always start my day just like a race. I fill up my emotional gas tank with all the positive things, my visualization, gratitude, mental rehearsal. I prepare for the day. I run through what's going to happen mentally and emotionally and prepare for it. I think of the challenges that might show up and see myself getting knocked down and standing up and making it through them successfully. I take the time and have the discipline to review all these things, physically activate my body, go for a run, lift some weights, get in a strong place, mentally prepare, timeline and time chunk my whole day and have a plan of action of what I'm going to do every hour of the day. So all these things are rituals and habits I've put in place. And then every so often I have the sensory acuity to step back and say, hey, I need to refuel right now. I'm not my best self. So I have a very simple pattern I can do in 10 or 20 minutes to go refill and refuel my mind, body, and emotions, come back to the best version of who I am, and jump right back in the race. And I think that consistent habit has given me the ability to withstand and keep going where most people have fallen apart, given up, or just turned around and gone a different route.
Okay. Yeah, I recall you saying in an interview that you burnt yourself out starting one of your companies. So I take it this is something you've learned and you implemented. Could you go more into depth about your morning ritual and how you really prime yourself and set yourself up to win?
Sure. My belief is everyone's different. The simple way for anyone to figure out their morning ritual, first, listen to all the experts and awesome people out there sharing what works for them. And there's lots of options, everything between jumping in a cold pool of water to taking a run to lifting weights to listening to powerful music and watching awesome YouTube videos. all the way to sitting in peace and silence and observing nature and just reflecting with a journal and a warm cup of tea, doing yoga, meditating. There's so many options. And my very first thought that I throw out there for anyone who's kind of searching for, trying to define what theirs is to just observe and kind of soak in what works for all these other people, and literally trial and error. Try it out. Say, hey, I'm gonna do this meditation thing for 10 days and see what happens to my life by doing it each day. I'm gonna do this lifting weights thing for 10 days and see what happens. And trial and error and use it on your own life to figure out that the most important piece is what works for you. My personal routine, I've done this for 15, I don't know, 16 years now, 17 years maybe.
Wow.
And it's simple. Wake up, and I always hydrate. So drink a big old thing of water. I'll do 10 deep diaphragmatic breaths because the oxygen moves your lymph and helps stimulate and cleanse your blood system. Or your lymph cleanses your blood, but your oxygen pumps your lymph through your body. The next thing, I'll go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, put my contacts in, go out, and then put my shoes on, go straight out the door. On my walk, the first 5 minutes is just walking and breathing. So 4 breaths in, it's called breath walking, where each step you take a breath in through your nose, and then 4 in through your nose, 4 out through your mouth. Repeat the process. If you want to activate some meridian points, you can tap your fingers. So your thumb and your forefinger, your thumb and your middle finger, your thumb and your ring finger, your thumb and your pinky, and you just tap them with each breath. It activates and kind of stimulates the nerves in your spine and your shoulders and in your head. Just wakes up your body. From there, once I did the first 4 minutes of just walking and breathing, I'll do gratitude. And just think of everything and everyone and everything from the smallest thing in my life to the biggest thing in my life that I'm truly, truly grateful for, and I'll say it out loud. From there, I'll start doing my vision for the future. So I'll start off with my 20-year vision, which to me is kind of like a North Star. It's not so much this perfect thing, a goal I need to accomplish, as much as it's like, hey, way out in the future, here's this big, shining, bright North Star that I'm aiming for. And as long as I keep moving towards that North Star, my life will continue to improve, get better. I'll be happier, healthier, more fulfilled, more successful than I've ever been, as long as I keep making progress towards that direction. And so that 20-year vision really becomes a North Star for me. So I think about the 20 years from now, how do I want to feel? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? Then I work backwards and say, okay, what are the goals I have to hit 10 years from now to be on track for that vision? 5 years, then work back to this year, 6 months, this month, this week, today. What actions must be completed today to keep me on track? Once I've gone through all that, I'll switch into some affirmations. Just simple phrases said over and over and over and over again to lock my brain like a laser on exactly where I want to go and what I want to accomplish. And then from there, wrap that up, go to the gym, lift some weights, and then get into the day.
So it's all happening behind the scenes. When people see you in a peak state, just really live, this is what it's all about. Yeah, this is what I've really noticed amongst very successful people, the morning ritual. It's incredible. Okay, Jairek, what would you say is the one thing you find to be true that most people would disagree with?
Probably what we talked about earlier, that you're going to have shit times in life.
Okay.
It's just true.
Yeah.
Now, I guess some people would try to disagree. Very positive people would be like, no, it's all going to be good. And I'd laugh and be like, okay, good luck. But you're going to have shit moments in life. And to think they won't happen is naive. And instead to just mentally, emotionally, and physically prepare for them. And instead of reacting to them when they happen, and being in the place where you're in this reactive mode of just kind of, what happened? And trying to freak out and just get back to normal. And instead really come from a place that says, hey, good stuff's going to happen in my life, so just bad stuff will happen too. And when it happens, don't be shocked by it. Don't act like, oh my God, how could that occur? Just step back and say, hey, it's part of life. And what's the plan? How do we get through it? Let's get to the other side. And the ability to do that consistently will allow you to stay completely centered as stuff unfolds. The other thing is the ability to stay resilient. I was working with the special forces of the Air Force, the pararescue jumpers, the guys who get called in when something bad happens and someone needs to be pulled out. Their motto is first there that others may live. And they're there to go do some crazy missions. And in working with these guys, the number one factor they look for in recruiting them is resiliency. The ability that if you put them on mission for 6 months, and at the end of 6 months, they're told they get to come home, and on month 5.5, they get told, hey, P.S., you're sticking in another 8 months, that they have the ability to mentally and emotionally go, okay, and just keep going. And so a differentiating factor that's really allowed me to have a lot of success in life is saying, hey, I want to reach this goal by this date. You get to that date, sometimes you hit it and you high five yourself. Sometimes you get to the date and you're nowhere freaking close. And your ability to just step back and go, okay, I'm going to keep going until I get there. And just shrug it off and keep moving forward. That ability of resiliency and consistency will give people a lot in life if they're able to do it. But most people get there on the date they said they were going to get it. They're nowhere close. They freak out, give up, kick in the door, and say, screw it. Maybe it's not for me, and go do something else. So that ability to stay consistent and stay resilient will be very important long term. I think people would agree with that logically, but physically, when you watch them get put into those moments, I don't think they necessarily live that way as much as they mentally go, yeah, that makes sense. But then you watch them when something shitty happens in their life and they fall apart, give up, kick in the door, and walk away. It's like, wow, okay, they understood the concept, but they sure as shit didn't apply it.
Yeah, makes total sense. A lot of people don't do what they know. So, Jairek, what would you say is really motivating you then? What's really behind the scenes, you know? Why are you really driven to become this amazing person, a man of success?
Those things really don't drive me. I've had moments in my life where I was driven by them, trying to be successful, trying to hit numbers, trying to grow a business, trying to do these things. And there's certainly things I'm interested in just to create. Go buy a company just to know how to buy a company, grow a company just to have fun growing a company. It's really truly the process that's exciting and fun, not so much just the end result someday. I've been blessed to have a lot of experiences of working with and growing up around people who have the big, gigantic, massive end results that people dream of. And the process of getting there is the fulfilling, fun, exciting, wild ride that makes it so cool. The end result of just having it really doesn't do much, to be honest. It doesn't change. Simple example for people is, if you're listening to this, how many of you are making more money right now today per year, per month, per day, per week than you did 15 years ago? Now, for most people, you're making more now than you did back then. For how many people is it still not even close to enough? For most people, they raise their hand, they're like, yeah, it's not even fucking close. I want more. It's like, okay, great. That's the exact experience you're going to get. Like, I don't care if you make enough money to buy your favorite rugby team and you're now the owner. Like, there's going to be a part of you that's like, okay, now what? And it's like, well, shit, I own the fucking team. What do I do from here? And it's like, well, now we got to win. We got to recruit the right players. And then you win it. You win your freaking championships. Like, now what? Well, we got to win too. Okay, good luck. It's like, that never ends. So it's really stepping back and saying, okay, shit, how do I choose to do things, going all the way back to the beginning, that allow me to literally fall in love with life? And if I choose to do those things every day, and I've chosen a structure that's profitable or fun or enlightening or exciting or meaningful or whatever reason that drove you into that, as long as you're doing things that you feel is worth applying your life to, and you're doing them in a way that allows you to literally fall in love with life, I think you've got it. And so what drives me? The ability to stay in those moments and provide those moments for other people. You know, my favorite thing to do when we go out and get hired to go do corporate trainings and stuff is stepping back and saying, okay, we're given the gift to be able to present to these people for this amount of time of their life. How do we literally make time stand still for them for the next 3 hours of their life? Where they disappear into the moment and all of a sudden they blink an eye and go, wow, I don't know what just happened, but that was fucking awesome. How do we create moments like that for them?
Wow. Okay. So we'll start wrapping up, Jairek, but if you were to really leave everyone tuning in today with one message, what would that be?
I think I'd go with our core message, which is three things. Learn what it takes to have the life you want. And for everyone, it's different. It depends on what you want. I mean, if you want to be an artist and learn how to, live in Italy and paint great pictures of awesome stuff, like figure out what it takes to do that. If you want to be a computer engineer and build an awesome set of apps and change the world through, developing cool stuff for people to play with or use or apply in some way, go do it. But whatever it is that really juices you, the first step is figure out how to do it. And I realize it's confusing for someone in the beginning, but if you really, really apply yourself and study and research and dive in, you'll figure out how to take anything on earth and make it work. And step 2, apply it. Like you said, a lot of people don't apply what they know. So once you've learned what works, put it to use. Apply it every single day, again and again and again and again and again. Even on the days you're not getting the result, keep applying. And keep applying it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And if you think about it like farming or bodybuilding, the first day you go to the gym and do a set of abs, you don't look in the mirror and go, whoa, look at my 6-pack or 8-pack. Like, that was awesome. I mean, you'd be fucking naive to do so. So the first day you go work out, you look at your stomach and not a whole lot changes. Yet, if you do abs and the right diet for the next 12 months, you come back, look in the mirror and go, holy shit, where did those come from? Because it took that time of growing and nurturing and caring for and really preparing your mind and body to get to a place where you do get to see all the cool abs or muscles you're building. Same thing in farming. If you've ever gone out and planted a plant, which I think most kids do, and sometime in school you like put a bean in water and let it grow. You got to watch the thing grow for like a month. It takes time. If you put the bean in the water the first day and imagine that the next day it's going to be a tree, like, you're silly. And so these fables are told to us again and again and again throughout the time. You got to plant the seed, you got to protect the seed, you got to watch the seed, and you got to allow it to grow. And so that second step of live it is putting in the work. Plant the seeds, take action every day, nurture those seeds, allow those seeds to grow, and regardless of what area of life that's in for you, but really live it, really apply it, and allow the results to take the time to grow and really turn into that oak tree that you're looking for. And eventually, once you really, truly have the sound, true, solid results in your life, not a one-off result, not like, hey, I sold one client once, now let me teach you how to be, internet marketer of the year. It's like, do it for 10 years, get some real fucking results, and now look back and go, shit, listen, I figured it out. You can put me in any position on earth, and I know the exact formula it takes for me to get there. I don't know your formula or his or her formula, but I know my formula. And you can have me start from scratch, and I can literally rebuild everything I've done here in a short period of time because I know exactly what it takes to get here, and I've applied it for many years. I have true and tried experience of getting those results again and again and again. Now, the final step, once you have that, give it, pay it forward. And find a way to show other people, not the 5 golden pillars to success. You got to remember, your formula is your formula. It doesn't work for everybody else. It's yours. It's unique to you. So show them as an example of, hey, here's what works for me, only as an option for you to see what works. So hopefully you grab it, try it out, see if it works for you. If it does, keep the parts that do. If it doesn't, kick those to the curb. But allow it to be an option of a possibility of what can work, so you can try it on for size and see what parts of it work for you. I think there's a lot of people out right now and throughout history who teach people the 5 golden pillars of success. These are the 7 steps to get the results you want. And it's like, yeah, those 7 fucking steps work for you, old dude with gray hair. Like, good for you. You figured it out, but they don't work for everybody. So let the person who's next in line take it, try it on, figure out what works, and you keep what works and toss the rest to the curb. Scientists hate that, but it's true. It's called the scientific approach of testing. So to sum it up, learn, live, and give it. Learn what it takes to get the result in life you want. Live it, really apply it, and get the tangible results, tried and true over consistent amounts of time, and then find a way to pay it forward and give other people the options of what works so that they can try it on for themselves and see if it helps them as well.
Amazing. Learn it, live it, give it. Okay, Jairek, just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with everyone today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, as always, follow your heart and take action. Speak to you guys soon.